Hey church family, most of us have heard the term oxymoron. If you're not familiar with the term, it's probably a good idea to let you know that an oxymoron is not a student who's flunking out at the one liberal arts college located in Eagle Rock. There's probably another term for that, although I don't know what that is. An oxymoron is typically two contradictory or opposite words or statements that are partnered together. An even simpler definition is that it's a combination of words or phrases that have opposite meanings. We often use these in conversation. One example might be virtual reality, because virtual implies that something isn't real, but reality implies it is. Another example would be when you describe something as being bitter sweet. We know what bitter is, and we know what sweet is, and we know they're opposites. So how do you put them together? I don't know. I'm pretty confident you can come up with your own list of oxymorons. Most oxymorons are harmless. But there's still many who believe contradictory claims about Jesus, which is a far more serious matter. One of the most famous C.S. Lewis quotes comes from his book Mere Christianity. And Lewis addresses the often contradictory mindset a person can have about Jesus. Lewis writes, "A man who was merely a man and said the sort of things that Jesus said would not be a great moral teacher. He would either be a lunatic, on the level with a man who says he's a poached egg, or else he'd be the devil of hell." Sadly, many religions like Islam will tell you that they respect Jesus as a great prophet. But Islam also teaches that Jesus is not God's son, that he didn't really die on the cross, and that he certainly didn't rise from the dead. Clearly, it's possible to state two contradictory claims about Jesus, but those two contradictory claims cannot both be true. One is going to be false, the other true, or they can both be false, but they cannot both be true. A person cannot really believe with intelligence that Jesus is a great man if he's lied about the fact that he'd rise from the dead. The empty tomb is the dividing moment. Jesus told his disciples, "The Son of Man is going to be betrayed into the hands of his enemies. He will be killed, but 3 days later he will rise from the dead." The question remains for every person: do you really believe this? Do you believe that Jesus went from death to life? This is the line in the sand moment. The statement, "He is not here, he is risen," is the most important statement that's ever been made, because all of Christianity rises and falls on this statement of the resurrection of Christ. Without it, Jesus is a fraud. He's a liar, and you don't want to follow him. But if Jesus did rise, then I pray you'd entrust your future, your life, all that you are to him, and you do your best to faithfully follow him, because he is unlike anyone who's ever lived. Amen.